Alright, well, another book which I really enjoyed reading, and I couldn't put it down really, it didn't take me too long to read it, A Life on Our Planet by the great man David Attenborough. Now this is essentially his witness statement, his summation of everything that he's learned in his life, doing the work that he's done. And you think about what he has done and what he's seen. I mean, he's had an extraordinary life, and he's in a real position to talk about things that he's talking about just by first-hand experience. So what he does in this book is he goes through and he looks at various stages in his life, and it's kind of hard to flip through this book, but if I'm going to some headings, so he breaks his life up into stages and looks at the population of the world, the carbon in the atmosphere, and the remaining wilderness, and he's just charting the decline in it. And a key concept which he explains really well, which every single person on Earth needs to get their head around if they haven't already, is what's called the shifting baseline syndrome. And so what that means is that our window in life, what we see and experience in our lifetime, is not very large. And so if you're, say, 25 years old now, everything that you've experienced has been from 1998 to 2023. And so you've got a sense of normality based on what you've experienced in your life. And so, you might think, well, I haven't seen much loss of environment or loss of wildlife or whatever in that time. And so your sense of normality is basically defined by what you've experienced in your life. Now, this is assuming, of course, you're not widely read or you're not looking into the science. So the politicians, the lawmakers, the people who are influencing, the developers, all of those kind of people, the ones who are making big changes that are affecting our environment, if they're just basing that on their own experience and what they've seen in their lifetime, then they've got a very, very limited and very blinkered view. And so their baseline is not what it was in their parents' time or the grandparents' time. You only have to look at accounts of wildlife and the population numbers that used to be around. Passenger pigeon in the US in the 1800s, you're looking at around, I think the numbers were 2 to 3 billion were the estimates of the birds. They used to fill the sky. The flocks would be miles long, and people used to shoot them without even looking. They'd just point their gun and and shoot up and shoot some birds, and of course they're all gone now. So the sense of what's normal based on your own experience is very, very, very deceptive. And the latest Living Planet report put out by the World Wildlife Fund just last year in 2022 shows that from 1970 to 2018, the population numbers of wild animals has plummeted down to 31% of what it was in 1970 at the start when they started doing this stuff. So in 48 years, the 69% has gone. And so one thing which Attenborough argues in here, which is a brilliant idea, though, you've probably heard of the concept of rewilding the world. Now, part of the problem with the extra carbon in the atmosphere is that we don't have the large animal numbers embedding the carbon in their body. And so the concept of rewilding and I guess increasing the amount of plants and animals on the planet as a carbon sink, quite apart from morally a right thing to do and aesthetically a right thing to do, and good for our mental health and good for all the biological systems which support us, it's also a really good way to reduce the carbon in the atmosphere. So that was one argument that he made towards the end there when he's looking at the future. But yeah, this is just a really engaging book. I think for anyone who's into this kind of area, the subject matter is not going to be new, but if it's not something you've heard or read much about, and if you're a fan of David Attenborough, or if you're not, I would certainly recommend this book. I think it's a fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so I don't think I'm meant to be giving out stars, but it's certainly 5 out of 5. So yeah, so A Life on Our Planet, David Attenborough, and it's going to be a very sad day when he shuffles off the earth, but what a legacy is left. Okay, thanks guys. Heartily recommend this one.